everyone, it's Shelly. Thanks for joining me again. I just want to share another real quick recipe with you. This is one that I do every year, particularly at Christmas and every blue moon throughout the year. The good thing about this is that it's also a recipe if you know someone who's dairy free that they can also have. And this recipe is for cranberry and pistachio biscotti. What we're going to need for this recipe is 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, 1.5 cups of pistachio nuts. I only have 1 cup, so I can only use what I have. Here I have a teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We also have 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 1 3/4 cups of flour. So I'm going to start first by sifting my flour with my baking powder and salt. I've got my parchment paper here, my sifter, and I'm just going to put the flour in here, along with the salt and the baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm going to just sift this on the parchment paper. I also have my oven set to 300. There we go, all the lumps are out of that. Put that there for now. And we can put the flour back in the bowl. This is a recipe that comes together really quickly, okay? So once you have your ingredients, it's like everything else. Once you have your ingredients all assembled, the rest is easy. What we're going to do is take our bowl and we're going to add our 1/4 cup of olive oil in the bowl. I have my hand mixer on standby there. 3/4 cup of the sugar, which is all the sugar that we use. And now I'm just going to mix it up well. To this, we are now going to add our flavorings, which is the 2 teaspoons of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. Okay, and our 2 eggs. Now I'm going to mix this up well. We've used the mixer only for about a minute, minute and a half. It doesn't take long at all for this to come together. Then we added in our flavorings, which are the vanilla and the almond extract, and then we beat in the 2 eggs. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually incorporate the flour and baking powder that we sifted earlier. And we're just going to fold this in by hand. We're just going to mix this just until it comes together. We don't want to over mix it, and so just be careful of that when you make this. Either way, I promise you, if you try this, it is so easy. You'll make it all the time. People will be so impressed with you and they won't realize how very easy this is. Sometimes I'll make it and I'll do a vanilla one. I'll do that another day for you because that's another one that you can do for people who have nut allergies or nut sensitivities. As you can see, it does get quite thick, right? But we're always making sure that we're getting all of the flour on the bottom. Now we're going to take our pistachio nuts and we're going to add them. As you notice, we don't cut them or chop them, I should say. And then we're also going to take our dried cranberries and incorporate those. And we're going to just keep folding this nicely. We'll just keep folding that in. We want to make sure that there's no dough, and that's about it. No flour, I should say, visible. We want to make sure the flour, and you can see how stiff this batter is, right? Just the way it's supposed to be. So next what I want to show you is I've taken a piece of parchment paper, and on the back of the parchment paper, I've used marker. It doesn't go through, so it's safe. And I've drawn 12 by 2, two rows, columns, whatever you want to call them, of 12 by 2. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to flip this over, and we are going to shape this into each of these, okay? What you may want to get, and what I find useful, is to take a bowl and put some cold water in it to keep your hands damp while you're doing it and as you're shaping these logs. I have a little bit of water here, and I'm going to start by just putting the batter down. And then once it's all out of the bowl, I will actually begin just shaping it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this in a 300-degree oven, and it'll be in the oven for 35 minutes, and then I'm going to take it out, and we'll come back at that time and do the next step. Hi everyone, welcome back. So the biscotti has been in the oven for the 35 minutes. Then I let it cool for 10 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut it on an angle, a diagonal, and cut it about 3/4 of an inch thick. And so we'll do that straight through for all of them. And we'll place them back on this, I'm going to use the same piece of parchment. The oven is reduced to 275. So we're going to continue doing this, and you have to be very gentle because they do want to break. This is what it looks like. And we'll just continue doing this with all of them. Then we're going to, after we've sliced both of them, 3/4 inch slices, we're going to pop them back into a 275 oven for about 12 minutes. And then we're going to take them out and let them cool completely. When you take them out, make sure that they're completely dried, because I've had to, on occasion, actually leave them in for as much as 20 minutes. And I don't know if it depends upon the humidity in the air or what it is, but just make sure that they're completely dried, okay? The other thing is that for storing them, let them cool completely. Put them in an airtight tin of some sort. I have a cookie tin that I use, and they will last for forever. Like, don't even worry, you can safely have them for a couple of months, and they will taste every bit as good as the day you made them. So I will show you a picture of what they look like at the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay safe, and Merry Christmas. God bless everyone.